how are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining me on Road to Community Reporter. How are you doing?
Great to see you, Sarah. I'm getting super stoked about Ignite. It's going to be awesome.
Brilliant. Just for those people who don't know you, Joel, would you just be able to give people like a quick intro, just who you are, what you do, and some of the awesome stuff that you work on?
So I think I'm referred to as one of the old timers in the business applications MVP group. I've been an MVP for 12 years now, and my first MVP was in 2008. So I guess it's been 12 cycles, but not 12 full years yet.
So that's when I started university.
Thanks. You make me feel old here. But yeah, so my background is I've been doing this a long time, since CRM version 3. And just as I tell people, eat, breathe, sleep. Now, I used to say CRM, now I say business applications, because in the last 2 years, I've gotten into Power Platform and Flow, and that was kind of my awakening a year and a half ago in this, probably spring of last year, 2018. I realized like the future was not just CRM, and I was kind of scared about it. So then I signed up to speak about Power Apps at Ignite, and I got selected last year. So that was kind of the learning by fire. But that's how I learn, is I set myself a goal to speak, and then I forced myself to learn it. So now I'm a little bit more comfortable with Power Apps and Flow, and so I'm speaking again this year.
Brilliant. That's amazing. So we can get some tips and stuff on not just attendees and not just for attendees, but also some speaker tips as well. So yeah, that's amazing. Super happy to have you, especially considering how long you've been, kind of in the Microsoft space. So so from a kind of an Ignite perspective, right? So we can look at this into the speaker and the attendee. What are your top 3 tips for people who are going to Ignite? And we can then just go, roll from there.
So let's talk about attendees first, and then talk about speakers, because I think even if you're attending but you're not speaking, there's things. One is, if you haven't been to a conference like that, it's a whole other world of conference. If you've been, say, in the business applications world and gone to UG Summit and MBAS, this is way loads bigger. And it hits you when you're sitting in the keynote with Satya Nadella, and you just look around and there's 30 to 40,000 people around you. This is loads bigger.
Oh.
And it's also, as a result, there's more rooms and more area to cover. So you probably will just feel lost when you get there, because it's just, and the expo is just loads exponentially better than you've seen, but it's not just Dynamics. You'll see some Dynamics competitors there, and they'll have booths there. But then every part of Microsoft will have a booth there too. So I dig being able to go to the Excel booth, or being able to go to, the most
Excel
exciting.
Excel has a booth.
Yeah. So they'll have that, and there'll be Microsoft Learn will be there, and really good giveaways too. So like things to register for, but or do these activities, and you get cool stickers and shirts, so you can load up on that stuff. But yeah, so I would say, don't just narrowly focus on the technology you work with. The best sessions I saw that I didn't expect, I saw one for the Edge group, and that was when they were starting to talk about the Chromium-based Edge, and that was really interesting. And then also, the groups like Microsoft News and other things within the Windows area and applications, they had a session there about how you could leverage the API from that for other apps, which totally applies to Power Apps and other things if you want your own news feed. So look for those kind of surprises, I would say. And it's branch out of your technology bubble into other areas. And then the attendee party is amazing. I believe they're doing the same thing last year, which was they basically rent out Universal Studios, and you can go and ride whatever rides and go to whatever restaurants. But you got to keep in mind, you'll have, probably 40, 50,000 other people doing that. So I spent more time waiting in line, especially to take the Harry Potter train to go to the other park. I had gone like the day before with my family, and the line was longer during the celebration. But it's just really cool. And I gotta say, it's kind of weird to be on these Harry Potter rides and look around you and see nothing but like 45 to 50-year-old IT guys around you, no kids at all, But it's a cool experience. and just something that, definitely if you're saying, I'm going to meet up with my buddy Sean there, for example, it might not be as easy as you might think, because it might take a long time to move between things, but it's a lot of fun. Remember, it's Florida, and Florida is always hot. You can always get a sunburn in Florida, even during, the fall and winter. So even it's November, I would bring cool clothing, but also it can rain hard there too. So like during the celebration last year, it rained, so we had to find a poncho or something. So just pack and be prepared for random Florida weather.
That's amazing. I've heard from a few of the other people we're interviewing have mentioned the weather, right? And I always laugh because obviously I'm not from the US, I'm from UK.
Right.
And we're definitely not used to the humidity or the heat that will be in Florida. I've never been to Florida, so I've been asking people's opinions, and they're kind of close to take for sure.
Remember, it was basically, Orlando was basically a swamp that Walt Disney kind of bought on the download to build Disney World, and that's kind of how it built up there. So he's basically a swamp. So dress like if you're going to the swamp.
If you go into the swamp and seeing crocodiles and stuff, because they have crocodiles there too, right?
Yeah, there are. Exactly. Yeah.
That's amazing. Those are awesome tips. Like, that is actually amazing. Your first one actually really interested me, because it's about like kind of the fact that there's going to be so many people there, because this is definitely the largest conference I've ever been to. I went to a conference done by Dynamics Communities in Nashville a few years ago, and that was like huge. Like, I was just like overwhelmed just by the hotel.
And that was like 7,000 people.
So this is like
times 6.
This is crazy, right? So in terms of that, and I guess you can see it as it's going to be exciting to start with, but I can see how quickly it can become quite overwhelming for people. Is there, like, for those people, what kind of tips would you give people, for those people who are just like, right, I'm done, like, I just want some downtime?
Well, I know because we have had some prep sessions, and they said that they are creating areas where people just want to get away and have a quiet spot, or have some place where maybe they can sit and listen to sessions without having to brave the big crowd. They're pretty good about that. So again, I wouldn't worry too much, and just make sure that you have know the layout, know where the food is, know where everything is, so you can get to it.
That's good.
Just keep in mind, like for the keynotes, everybody wants to see Satya and stuff, but you're likely not going to get real close, but they've got big screens, so you don't have to like rush to get in the front of the line or anything, and you could still have an enjoyable time. But you also can then sit outside the room and watch it, because it all streams live. So I know some people just skip the big crowd and just watch it on their computer. Yeah, my tips for attendees, but for speakers, I find people misunderstand Ignite. They think it's a developer conference. So they think, oh, I need to be super techie. But actually, developers are only like 10 to 15% of the attendees. It's more IT pros. It's an IT pro show. So people like me who aren't real developers, but are technologists, are interested in it. So keep that in mind when you do it. Build is more of the developer conference, and I also went to Build, and even though I'm not a developer, I found some very useful things, some really good Power BI stuff. But I think that's where tailoring your tailoring your presentation. So a lot of the MVP sessions are these 20-minute community sessions. So one of mine is a community session, and what that's going to be basically is you're inside the large expo hall, scattered throughout the floor. There are these makeshift theaters that have up to maybe 100 to 150 seats, but they're scattered about there. But the expo hall is very busy and can have a lot of noise. So what I tell people there is keep that in mind, that you want to be heard over it. So, use a little bit more energy, speak a little bit louder, be a little bit more. I'm generally not a real animated person, but you try and be a little bit more animated so that you can keep their attention during it. But also 20 minutes is not a long time. So topic I'm going to be presenting for that is going to be improving your data quality in CDS using a Power App. And so showing Power Apps, or actually with Flow. So I'm going to be showing Flow tips on data quality, data deduplication, and other things like that. So, but it's kind of like the cooking show. If you ever watched the the Great British Bake Off or whatever it's called. They don't have time
100%.
to like show every ingredient coming together and it cooking for the full 45 minutes. It's kind of like, let's mix it together now. They're pulling it out of the oven. So you kind of have to be Julia Child or something and be showing kind of, I don't think you can give the full demo, but
Mm-hmm.
try and give them something usable in that time and answer, why is this important? And there'll be just a lot of those sessions, and a lot of it is people just wandering around and stumbling into that. And that's kind of like the discoverability with all these different technologies and everything. You can do that. So that's my main tip for speakers.
No, that's really good, actually. They had something similar at the Microsoft Business Applications Summit in June, like the whole kind of like theater style, like kind of people dropping in and out. And I really like the idea, the comparison to the Great British Bake Off. That was like on point. And I was like, was that specifically for me? I felt like that was specifically for me.
Well, I would say chopped if I was talking to somebody from US probably.
I mean, it was
But I
food
think
orientated and British. It was amazing. It was like the best example.
Exactly. But the other thing is, I noticed that the makeup of the Microsoft's people that are there was a little bit different. Like MBAS, you have, and I'm sure Charles Lamont and others will be there, but you saw kind of different people. You get a lot of principal program managers at Ignite. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you go to the sessions, you'll find people that really know what, I'm not saying the other people don't know what they're talking about, but the people who are really involved in that aspect of the technology will be speaking. It's less salesy. It's people actually showing, because the audience there wants to really learn and know what this is. It's maybe not as much breaking news. I think MBAS and others are where we're talking strictly the business, but even, Satya Nadella is this year, every time I've seen him speak, I'm not in person, but just events, he's always mentioning business applications and Power Platform and Dynamics as well. So I'm sure there'll be some stuff there too.
That's cool. And I guess I really like the tip about watching it on the computer as well. So if you don't want to deal with those crowds, I kind of like that as an alternative. Because I know that where from my side, from the community reporter, there's going to be interviews all day. We're going to be live streaming for kind of most of the week. So people can just kind of also tune in. I've not heard that tip, and I really like that. I kind of wanted to pull that out and pull that to the surface, because if you're kind of done by like day 2 and done with all the partying and after parties and stuff, you can just go ahead and go online and have the online experience as well. But then that said as well, there's a massive amount of, the people and the people that, you want to meet and talk to. How would you say, how do you kind of, say there's people that you really want to meet that you've not really, had the opportunity, but you're going to be getting the opportunity at Ignite. How do you go about kind of getting an introduction to them and going up to them and meet them? Do you just kind of do it? Do you kind of try and get their details beforehand? Is there any kind of tips there?
I have people reach out to me on LinkedIn who say, hey, can we meet up? But I'll give you one specific. If you're in the business applications and you want to meet people like MVPs or people who are working with business applications, one of the other sessions I'm doing is called an on-conference. And an on-conference is something that's new to Ignite, which is kind of grown out of the meetups that they've done before. It's kind of an unstructured session about a specific topic where you could meet subject matter experts and kind of have more loose discussions with them. And so the one we're doing is called Power Platform for the CRM people. So it's for people that where we were like a year and a half, 2 years ago, who are like scared, seeing what's this Power Platform stuff. I've been doing Dynamics for years. How do I understand how to incorporate this, and what does this all mean? So, we've got Affirmed, we've got Marco Amado, and we got Eliza Benitez and Sean Tabor, and maybe one or two others, maybe you if you have time, but we're going to be there, and it's going to be a 75-minute session, but I know that they're capping that at like 50 to 55 people. So that's the kind of thing that early October, you're going to be wanting to look at the schedule and reserve some of these, because there were a number of sessions that had people standing outside the door and just couldn't get in because it was at capacity. So that's the other thing, is strategically planning your schedule to make sure that you can get in those sessions that you want, and maybe go early if it's one you really want to get into.
Wow, that's actually really good advice, because you don't want to be like, you know, if you've just got if you're an attendee and you've said, hey, I want to go to this conference, but you walk in and you're gonna get stopped at the door, right? Because there's going to be people at the door that normally scan your badges. So yeah, you're not going to be able to go in there. So that is an amazing advice, and I will put all the sessions that Joel's just spoken about. So for those people listening or watching, I will put links and the actual kind of like codes, because it's so much like you can find them so much easier in the actual schedule builder or the session builder, using the codes rather than just a full name, and then you can actually add them, right? You sign up for them, right? Is that the right thing that people should do?
Yeah, I think you do. And again, there's aren't on there, but they said early October they would have all
Okay.
the MVP sessions and the conferences and other things like that. But if anyone wants to, if I'm sure any of us MVPs who are going to be there, I know Jerry Weinstock's going to be there. Best thing is just reach out to us and on Twitter, LinkedIn, or whatever. And as we have time, now we may not have time every day, but and I would say the same thing for people at Microsoft. If they're going, like last year, I wanted to meet up with Evan Chalky. And because if you don't know Evan, he's instrumental for things like the unified interface and the maker experiences and stuff. But you know, the day he's speaking is probably not the best day to do it, but maybe he'll be around the day after. And just be cognizant of that they might just not have time too. But I would say start now, start planning out strategically people, Microsoft MVPs or other people in the community that you want to, who you know to be there. Look at our LinkedIn's. We're all saying, hey, I'll be at Ignite or whatever. And then we're glad to meet up with you.
That's actually really good. And from my side of things, I'm more than happy to connect with people. So if people are connected to me and they're like, hey, Sarah, I really want to meet X, I will do my best to be able to make those connections for you, especially if people are too scared. I know that you know, I don't mean that in a horrible way, really, per se. It's just, again, people who are perhaps first timers at Ignite, or even people new to the whole kind of industry, you know, it can be quite overwhelming, especially with the amount of people. And it is, you know, you want to get your tickets money's worth. You want to meet people, right? If there's something that you're going to do, the sessions are recorded for sure, and also you're going to get an amazing experience going to the sessions, but you also want to make it about meeting people too. And I really like that advice. That's speaking advice, right? Because people are knackered. So if people who are listening or watching have never done speaking before, it is actually it's an exhausting experience, whether it's 20 minutes or an hour, right? And as much as we totally appreciate people coming up to us afterwards, it's sometimes we feel rude because we can't even talk to you that much because we're packing up ready to get off the stage for the other people to. Because if you're waiting, the thing that you want to do is get the person off the podium so you can set your laptop up to make sure it all works. So there's a bit of a logistical kind of nightmare that goes on. And, you know, FYI, presenters are not being rude, speakers and presenters are not being rude when they kind of do that, because they're normally just, you know, it's a race against time. So that was actually a massive takeaway as well.
I would say too, use this as an opportunity to find out maybe some contacts at Microsoft or other places that you might not know of, because you know, I think it was Ignite where I first saw the Microsoft Teams integration with Dynamics, and you know, I've been asking some higher up people about that, and they weren't really able to give me answers. But then I saw the guy speaking about it, who was like a program manager on that team, and so I got his number, and then I was able to get a lot more information from him than I would calling Charles Lamanna up.
That's amazing. That's
where you
really
could
good.
find out, you broaden your footprint within Microsoft and other people in the community. And and also, just Sarah, since you haven't been there before, if it's like last year, they'll have like a big MVP wall that you can like take your picture with all the names of the MVPs and have something you can write on graffiti on the wall. And the store at Ignite last year was on par with the store at the Microsoft campus. I mean,
really? Seriously?
if not better. Yeah. So shirts and swag and hardware and all this stuff and all that. So yeah, just spend more time, plan more time for the expo than you might be thinking, because there's going to be so much stuff there.
So put that in so by the time this airs, the sessions are probably going to be able to be bookable now. So, you know, kind of once you finish listening and watching this, go ahead and do that. But I definitely really like that advice. The idea is that don't book your schedule too full. You know, maybe book some backup sessions. One of the things that I always normally say to people is the fact that, you know, make sure you star your essential sessions that you want to go to. So the things that are like, you know, life or death, you know, you as in to get your money's worth, you want to attend this session. application. So yeah, definitely do that. I really like that plan. So so that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for all of this amazing advice. One of the last questions that I have was that it's kind of a generic one, I guess, but I think a lot of people come across and approach this differently. But in terms of like what kind of stuff to actually pack for Ignite, so I know a few people have commented about shoes, all that kind of stuff. But in general, is there anything specific that, or not specific, that you pack for?
See, I think that, and again, I'm not gonna. This might be generalization, but the MVPs I know who are going, Jerry Weinstock asked what he should wear when he presents. That was with the other conference. So, yeah, I think they don't want people to wear, like, if you're presenting, they don't want you to have things with, logos on the front or whatever, but they don't want you to wear a suit either. They want just casual. I mean, I look at people, like Scott Hanselman or Scott Guthrie and other people like that. They're always wearing business casual khakis, a polo kind of thing. But then it's Florida, so you want comfortable, cool clothes. Is what. And I mean, I think like in the event, you're going to be outside. It's going to be dark for a lot of it, and you're going to be going around a theme park. So just come prepared.
Take a jacket as well, and maybe like something with a hood, like even a hoodie or something. I mean, I guess you can get a lot of swag as well at the event. You're going to be able to get hoodies and stuff, right?
Yeah, and you can bring your ugly MVP jacket if you have one of those too.
Which one's that? I think there's been a few, not to sound aggressive.
Oh, I got a closet full of them too. If anyone wants any 2XL ugly jackets, I'm glad to bring some.
So there you go. There's going to be a giveaway. Joel's like old MVP jackets. That's amazing.
Exactly.
We'll tweet when and where, okay, at the event, so you can come and there'll be a storm of people. It'll be funny. So that's amazing. Thank you so much for your time. In terms of, do you want to just share with the audience, for those people watching or listening, what kind of stuff are you working on at the moment, Joel? What's going on for you right now? What's important? I know that there's the 24-hour conference that's actually going on, but I actually think that's going to be, I will put links in the description, by the way, for everything that we've been speaking about.
So we've got a lot of things. The Power Platform 24-hour conference. I'm also speaking at the East Coast Teams and Collaboration Conference. I'm speaking at D365 UG in October, and then at Ignite in November. So somehow conferences all get bunched up this time of year. And other than that, we have multiple episodes per week at CRM Audio, and tips of the day at CRM Tip of the Day. So that keeps me plenty busy.
That is awesome. And if anyone hasn't listened to CRM Audio, that's also a great place to start if people want to get into business applications. And really, there's some awesome conversations on there. So definitely,
absolutely. We cover the gamut.